We're speaking today with Ray Greenan, who's a Director of Communication Service Providers at Symantec. How are you, Ray?
I'm doing great, and thanks so much for the time today. We really appreciate it, Rich. Wanted to talk a little bit about security and the importance of security, particularly around the 4G network. And obviously, as you go into a 4G network, it's really going to enable a lot of different kinds of applications that you might not have had before. Now, certainly the network has a lot of applications today that need to be secure, and it's an issue in today's network. But we believe that as you go to a fourth generation network, the types of applications, the complexity of the applications, and just the prevalence of applications that are going to be purchased by people on ever increasingly complex mobile devices is going to really start to bring into effect the need for security. All right?
Do you think that there's going to be more targeting also because of the number of these devices?
Yeah, absolutely. So just as you saw targeting on laptop computers and desk-side computers, people go to where the money is. And as you start to enable applications on the mobile network that do things like mobile banking, being able to purchase with mobile devices, like an e-wallet, if you will, the amount of targeting that will start to happen on that will start to increase. And, of course, as you know, we passed in the January timeframe the 4 billion mark of mobile devices out there. And that's not stopping. I mean, it's continuing to grow. And we think that you're going to see a lot more of targeting to these devices because money is starting to enter into the picture around the applications as people purchase things, do e-banking, use their phones as a wallet to make on-the-spot purchases for small things. The ability to target those things starts to increase. And you're going to see things like maybe not grand scale types of theft, but it'll be small but across many people. So they may steal $1 from you so that on your bill it's not noticed. So you may get an SMS message that says, "Oh, please accept this," and you press yes, and all of a sudden you're billed for $1. But when you get your bill and you look and you normally pay $89 for your service and it shows up $90, you're really not going to notice the $1. But they're stealing across 1 million people, so that $1 is really $1 million.
So we've gone from micro payments to micro theft.
Right.
Basically.
Right, you're going to start to see that kind of phenomenon happening. And securing against that is really a critical component of what we think has to be in place as a value proposition for service providers.
Oh, that's very very exciting and interesting, and it makes a lot of sense that you want to get ahead of this problem before it gets out of hand, right?
Yes, absolutely. So
okay.
I'd like maybe Matt to talk a little bit about that if he could.
Hi, Matt.
Hi. Yes. We want there to be a certain degree of just sense into it. We want to get ahead of the problem, yes. So we're there before it gets out of hand. We tend to be cautious not to do fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But there are things to be concerned over. So one of the aspects I'm looking at in this is, in order for all these micropayments and all of that to work, the user on their mobile device is unique in a manner that users have never been before. I am uniquely identified by the SIM card in my device. Now, wherever I take that SIM card is me. So I can be globally reached with my phone number, and that is a direct billing relationship between myself and my operator. So micro theft, yes, it means that anything someone can get my phone to do gets charged to my account. Whether they get me to send a premium SMS message, call a premium number, or something else. I mean, it's like in phishing, they have to lure you out of your banking details and use it in a follow-up step to the attack to try and get money.
Phishing with a PH, that phishing.
Phishing, yes. So they're trying to do social engineering, lure you out of your banking details, and then offline trying to use that to extract money from your account. Now, this is an account with money. It's already in here.
Right.
They just have to get me to respond to a text message. So the first step, rather than the second or third, is where they take the money, there are all kinds of mechanisms built into the network to prevent or at least make the theft difficult. But we have to make sure that we're ahead of the problem, so that when it starts, when the hackers really start targeting this on a broader scale, that we're there with the correct solutions. That's pretty much why we're here now.
So who should be talking with you now, and what kinds of questions should they be asking?
I would say the carriers.
Okay.
So, the carriers network is where all the customers connect through. It's the focal point. That's where the billing relationship is. They own that unique SIM which identifies me. So the carrier is the one that needs to look at how to protect their subscribers.
Okay, and so they should be working with you in what ways right now?
Right now, on a knowledge basis. What do we call it? Trusted advisor.
So you're in the process of educating the carrier
That's
markets
correct.
globally on how they should roll out their networks and the kinds of concerns that they should have to prevent major problems, theft,
Absolutely. And
fraud.
also, we already have ready built out products to protect subscribers from online theft, identity theft, and that sort of thing.
We believe that this is a real good opportunity for the carriers to brand around the whole concept of security, because security is not just around payments and so forth, although that's an important element. And the good news here is that there are solutions for this. This is not, you have the bad guys, but we also have solutions that we can also offer to be able to prevent this kind of trouble from happening. But there are things like cyberbullying that happens, and I'd like to talk a little bit about that, because really, if you look, the fastest growing adopter of mobile devices right now are tweens.
Right.
Kids between the 8 to 11-year-old age, they now have mobile devices. And as Mats has pointed out, you can tell where anyone is at any particular time because of the device. So it's location-based, it's anytime, anywhere access, which creates a whole different kind of problem now. So what's happening is, for cyberbullying, since it's anytime, anywhere, kids can be texting each other in the middle of the night, right, in a very bad way, where they can be saying, hey, are you up? All the guys are up, we're talking, what's going on? You're not IMing, you're not part of the crowd, and now they feel ostracized. Now, they're never going to tell their parents this happened because they're afraid that they'll lose the phone, all right? But yet they've been bullied, all right? That's one problem. And again, with the proper parental controls in place, parents can have the option now of limiting the times when instant messaging can be going on and things like that to eliminate that problem. Right? So giving the parents control is really very, very important. And it's a partnership between Symantec and the communication service provider that has to be put in place to allow for that. And again, I mentioned, it's a real opportunity for the service provider to brand on this, because we believe it's an important area that's emerging. Now, that's cyberbullying, but there's also a problem with sexting, which, these devices are becoming more and more powerful. They have cameras in it, like the device you have, and they're connected to the network in a way that they can send these photographs anywhere. And what's happened, and I'll relay a story for you. I grew up, I live in the New Jersey area, and in the local town in New Jersey, this was just in the paper not even a month ago, where kids were taking inappropriate pictures of themselves in school, passing them around. And what happened was the teacher discovered it, and it was a little more pervasive than they thought it was. It was not just one or two kids, it was a bunch of kids. So now the principal got involved. The principal got involved and said, you know what, we have to bring in the local authorities. The local authorities got involved and looked and said, hey, we got a real problem here, because we now have underage photographs, inappropriate photographs, going across the public network. We now have to involve the child pornography laws.
Wow.
So something very innocent, right, that that they didn't know and understand the repercussions of this, has now become an issue for child pornography. Now, where that ends up, I don't know. The law will obviously have to handle that. But think of that. Something that you think is very innocent use of a device. It's something that you obviously don't want to be doing, but you don't want somebody going to jail for it either, or having that mark on themselves for a long time in their lives because it goes on your record can be a real problem. Well, parental controls would have helped that. if they were in place, because you could have limited the use of the photograph feature on the phone or things like that, so that these things wouldn't have happened. So again, in partnership,
or at least monitor.
Or at least monitor,
right?
Exactly.
To get CC'd on
every time one goes out,
right.
Get CC'd on it, so you can look and say, hey, wait a minute, that's not what I want happening with my child's phone.
You probably can change child's behavior if they know you're being CC'd anyway, right?
Exactly. Now, you bring up a great point, because it's the fastest part of the market, right? That's growing. But the other part of it is that who's paying the bill? Well, mom and dad are paying the bill. So they're obviously going to want control over it, which again is another branding aspect that we think is going to go into this. And in partnership with the service providers, we think Symantec can play a very large role.
So we can look at pretty much all aspects of security and safety. I mean, it doesn't have to be. We don't have to be talking about micro theft and viruses in the phones. Just what the phones are used for. We have systems built out to recognize someone giving out location information. Now, as a parent, I'd like to know if my child is texting location information to someone. I'd like to know roughly who my kids are texting with.
Right.
As well. I mean, if they're texting amongst their friends, that's fine. But if someone who's claiming to be Amanda, 12 years old, is in fact Bill, 45 years old, then I don't want them texting with them. So basic controls so that parents can feel that their children are safe, whilst because the children use these devices to like no end. We're talking about children sending in the neighborhood of 1,000 SMS messages per month.
So what I'm sensing is, because we all know how complicated it is for people in my generation to deal and above to deal with the parental controls that we're discussing, but what I'm seeing is an opportunity for carriers to put out a special child package or some sort of child-safe package.
That's exactly one of the propositions we're making.
So, okay, great. That makes a lot of sense. So basically what you do is you'll turn on the features that will protect the child, and the parent can electively turn off those features. So basically keep the child safe, and if the parents know what they're doing, then they could say, all right, you can text message after 7, but I'm only going to let you text message until 9 instead of 24/7.
So actually, that's already become a regulation, or as it's called in the EU, a directive that all the EU countries pick up within a 5-year time frame. So it's an EU directive that I, as a parent, am supposed to be able to walk into a store and buy a child phone.
That's great.
And basically what you do is you select in a certain number of categories. So and then everything is done for you when you get the phone. Texting during school hours may be turned off for the age category between 10 and 15. Texting after 11 p.m. may be turned off for another age category.
Sure.
Watching streaming YouTube may be turned off at certain hours for another category. So you pick a category so that the parent is not supposed to feel obliged to go home and understand a problem that they don't really understand and program that on the internet. They buy it, but they can also change it afterwards. Maybe something is kids are supposed to be able to text someone after 2300. Then you can go in and these numbers are my approved numbers. They can text these guys anytime they like.
Thank you so much, guys. This was great. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you so much.